Classic Restos is proudly brought to you by Shannons, insurance for motoring enthusiasts. Hare and Forbes Machinery House, Pace Farm, Hero Hoists, and Martens Panel Masters. Hey, what happens when you give a mountain a little bit of muscle? Find out on this week's Classic Restos. The state is Queensland, Australia. The town is Maleny, not quite 100 kilometres north of Brisbane, home to over 3,400 people sitting in the fresh air, 450 metres above sea level, among the characteristic rolling green hills of the Sunshine Coast Hinterland. Welcome to the 2018 Muscle on the Mountain. 2017 was the first year that Classic Restos received the opportunity to showcase this mighty event. Last year, Muscle on the Mountain flexed their muscle, attracting great attendance levels, and this year is even greater. The event caters to Holden, Ford, Chrysler, muscle cars, street machines, hot rods, vintage, classic cars and motorcycles, and of course as many car clubs as possible are welcome. It's a gold coin entry and a fun day for all the family, showing off as many classics as possible, raising awareness of men's health with proceeds to the Prostate Cancer Foundation of Australia. And here we are at the incredible 2018 Muscle on the Mountain. Hello, Kate.
Hello, Fletch. How are you going?
I'm good. You?
It's early.
Yeah.
It's foggy.
You get that on the big jobs.
Yeah, it's going to be a beautiful day, though.
Absolutely. This 1955 bus. All right, here we go. We start off the show. It's a Volkswagen product. I thought you can be the bus of the episode, Kate.
Thank you. Thank you.
Tell us a story. What's going down with this vehicle?
This was my 40th birthday present from my husband, who is a mechanic, and between us, we've restored it together over the last 8 years.
Boy, hasn't he scored some points?
He's done very well for himself. He's done very well.
That is amazing. Look, I love it. Okay, here we go. We've got this thing that looks at you, the bright work, the paint work, the interior. As soon as it's a sort of vehicle on approach, coming onto the grounds, that it really does stand out. Now, condition-wise, before the restoration, Kate, tell us about that.
We got it locally. It was blue. The white that you can see on top was blue all the way down, and then it was grey at the bottom. The interior was rattan, and it had a bed here in the back. But we had the vision of what we wanted to do with it. It is a split screen with the push-out safari windows.
Aren't they cool?
They are gorgeous. It didn't have safari windows when we actually got it, so we were able to purchase them and put them in, which really finishes the look, I think.
Tell me, Kate, what is it about these vehicles? Once upon a time, with all due respects, you couldn't give these things away. And now the fraternity is so strong. It's powerful. It's not just here in Australia, it's global.
It's worldwide. There certainly has been a resurgence in the love of this car, and I think it's just the look of it. People, whenever they see it, they smile. They do this at me all the time. That took a little bit of getting used to. It's just
maybe when they gave you those fingers, maybe they didn't like you, Kate.
Everybody likes me.
I know. How could they not?
Now that I've got a combi.
But they do stand for fun. It goes back to the hippie era, doesn't it?
And everybody wants to tell you their story about their experience with a combi, whether they had an old one when they were kids. You know, mum and dad might have had a camper and they used to go to holidays on them, and generally they didn't love them, which is the interesting part as well.
Well, they held up all the traffic on every main highway.
Yeah, broke down everywhere.
That's right. The only time the traffic would pass is when they broke down.
They stopped.
I've got a tremendous amount of respect for these in terms of what we've just spoken about, how they've come through the decades in the popularity stakes. Little things I've noticed. Tell us about the steering wheel. Now, is that an original wheel on this bus?
No, and that is the joy actually of restoring a Volkswagen, because they do have spots where they're they're renowned for rusting out. So be it the floors, be it the sills, particularly at the front, you can get a lot of rust in those areas, and luckily you are able to actually purchase panels when you're doing a restoration, rather than bog.
Exactly.
Yeah, so that's always, that's good.
How does it drive as a bus? Do you enjoy driving it?
I do. You've got to drive it. You know, it's only 4-speed. Sometimes I would love to have that fifth gear in it, but that's part of the enjoyment as well, you know, and my top speed, I'm lucky if I get to 100 comfortably. Yeah, people just love seeing it.
That's right, and that doesn't matter about top speed with these types of cars. And motorists watching the show, I think in this day and age, you'd like to think that the average person on the road gives these types of vehicles a little more space. They're a little bit more lenient with them.
They slow down around me actually to admire it. Often when they're passing me on the highway, you'll see that the whole car slows down. Kids will look out. Yeah, it's great.
Kate, it was lovely talking to you.
It was lovely talking to you too, Fletch.
Thank you. Yourself and your husband, attention to detail with this bus, 100 out of 100. I hope you have a wonderful day here today at Muscle on the Mountain.
Thank you, Fletch.
My passion for cars began when Nana and Pop bought their new Toyota Crown. It was Nana's, really. She loved that car. We went everywhere in it. My passion now is just the same, even though my cars are a little different. I've still got Nana's car, couldn't part with it. And I reckon if she was here today, she'd be insured with Shannons too.
Call Shannons on 13 46 46. Shannons, insurance for motoring enthusiasts.
How would you like to double your garage space and work on your cars easily? Well, bring in your own hero with a Lift King hoist. Easy to install models in 1, 2 and 4 post styles. Check the very nifty Spyder 2500 portable mini scissor lift. Hero hoists are either Oz certified or carry the Euro CE, your guarantee of quality construction and reliability. I regularly stand under my Lift King, so when you need a bit of a lift, why don't you go stand under yours? Martens Panel Masters has 3 modern accident repair centres. They service Melbourne's inner, outer east and the fast-growing southeast corridor. Your vehicle will receive the best from state-of-the-art repair equipment finished beautifully from computer-based paint mixing systems, finished in Australian compliant spray booths. Martens Panel Masters, located at Ferntree Gully and Berwick, also Box Hill Panels. If you have a restoration project, Hare and Forbes has the tools that you need. Shrinker stretchers, dollies, mallets, bead rollers, profile gauges, professional panel restoration kits, and so much more. Now I warn you, enter at your own risk because you will end up buying something. So come along to your Cap City store or browse and buy online at machineryhouse.com.au because Hare and Forbes has the range. Moving on now from a German product to a GM product from the UK. How you doing, Gordon?
Hello, Fletch. Good to see you again.
Good, nice to see you as well.
Yeah.
Now, Gordon, the reason I'm picking on your car, it's probably one of the most interesting cars here on the paddock because we're talking a General Motors car from the UK and almost a derivative of our HG, T and K Kingswood here sold in Australia.
Yes, exactly, yeah.
So we're looking at a 67 Vauxhall?
Yes, that's right. And this one's a Viscount. It's the upmarket of a Vauxhall Cresta. They were fitted with various items like General Motors Power Glide, General Motors electric window system, which is actually made in Rochester, New York. And the power steering is also the same one that's put in the Holdens.
Around the back of the car, along the boot lid, the 3.3 litre badge. Now, obviously not a 202. What are we looking at engine-wise?
No, this is actually 201. And there's nothing interchangeable with Holden.
See, this is what I liked about the old days where the Australian design department at Holden, they could have used the 201, but they took on their own design, their own tooling to come up with their red engine, and that was a traditional manufacturing feat, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's a little bit like Pontiac and Oldsmobile. You'd think they had the same side valve engines in the early days, but they didn't. They were quite different.
When we look at the interior, Gordon, that's a Kingswood dash. You can just see Kingswood. The UK design liked their plastic wood grain, which I guess got a hard time up here in the north with heat.
Yes, they did, yes. And even if it was a Rolls Royce, all that bare walnut finish will crack.
Now, build numbers, Gordon, what can you tell us there in terms of how many were built in the UK and where they were exported to?
Yeah, there was 7,025 built between 1966 and 72, and 50 of these were sent to New Zealand, and this is one of those 50. And I bought it in New Zealand in 2000 and brought it over.
Now, Gordon, you've brought two cars along today. You've also got the Xw Cresta, which is next to us. Now, that's the nicer one of the two in terms of a restoration, but the 67 is interesting purely for its rarity, and I really appreciate today you sharing this car with us, mate. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Fletch.
That's right. We might see you in Detroit in 2019, eh?
Oh, I'd love to do that.
All right. Keep in touch. Thanks, mate.
Bye.
And with all due respect to the Vauxhall Viscount, I personally believe that it was General Motors' Holden here in Australia that perfected this mighty shape. Almost 900 cars, a record number, 2018 muscle on the mountain. How are you, Linda?
I'm wonderful, thanks, Fletch. And it's amazing considering the weather.
You must be jumping out of your skin. This would be the biggest year so far, right?
That's correct. It is the biggest year, and yes, it's wonderful to have all these people bring their vehicles out with doubtful weather, and to have them participate is just marvellous.
Okay, now Linda, this year for 2018, up on last year, what do you put it down to?
I think that a bit more publicity, wider publicity, and just making sure that everybody knows we're here and what we're doing. And the cause, of course, is really special, being prostate cancer. And this year we've included the local hospital auxiliary in that as well. So that sort of gives a double barrel edge to what we're trying to do.
That's tremendous, and I believe traders are up as well.
Yes, they are. They are. So obviously they're hearing that it's a good place to come and a good day out.
Now, Muscle on the Mountain, of course, social media pages, easy to find, but do you have a specific page for the event?
We do have a web page, and that is the www.muscleonthemountain.com page. So that's the official page, and there's a couple of Facebook ones out there too. So people just need to keep an eye on that to find out exactly what's happening.
Well done, Linda. Look, you're a committee member here. You're part of a group of people that do a wonderful job. All car show event organisers are doing a wonderful job each and every week right around Australia and globally as well. It's a mountain, pardon the pun, of work, isn't it?
It can be, yes, but we've got some really good volunteers. Of course, we can always use more, as every organisation that does a voluntary thing in their community, they can always use more helpers. So we'd like some younger legs would be good. So anybody out there in the Maleny area that wants to come on board, give us a hand next year, we'll welcome you with open arms.
Good on you. Linda Burgess from 2018 Muscle on the Mountain. Thank you.
Thanks, Fletch.
And when you have a moment, don't forget to sign up and become a member of the Shannons Club. And if you have anything to do with a classic bike, car or a truck club, make sure that it's listed there as well for all the world to see. Find out more information when you visit shannons.com.au.
I spend a lot of time out here. The RT Charger's the real deal. An E49. Remember A-Charger? I've always got projects on the go, so Shannon's laid-up cover helps protect my restorations. I'm Mopar through and through. It's a passion Shannon's understands. I wouldn't insure my cars and bikes with anyone else.
Shannons, insurance for motoring enthusiasts. Call 13 46 46 for a quote.
How would you like to double your garage space and work on your cars easily? Well, bring in your own hero with a Lift King hoist. Easy to install models in 1, 2 and 4 post styles. Check the very nifty Spyder 2500 portable mini scissor lift. Hero hoists are either Oz certified or carry the Euro CE, your guarantee of quality construction and reliability. I regularly stand under my Lift King, so when you need a bit of a lift, why don't you go stand under yours? Martens Panel Masters has 3 modern accident repair centres. They service Melbourne's inner, outer east and the fast-growing southeast corridor. Your vehicle will receive the best from state-of-the-art repair equipment finished beautifully from computer-based paint mixing systems, finished in Australian compliant spray booths. Martens Panel Masters, located at Ferntree Gully and Berwick, also Box Hill Panels. Hare & Forbes Machinery House has been family owned and operated for over 85 years, and it's easy to see why. Planning on welding? Look at these welding tables and clamps, air compressors and different air tools, sandblasting cabinets, through to spray guns. Everyone is welcome at Machinery House. There are competitive freight rates around Australia, and you can buy online at machineryhouse.com.au. So remember, Hare & Forbes has the range. Time now for a very special car on today's show, a 1969 Xw Gtha Falcon. We've got Ben Chesterfield. How you going, buddy?
Good, Fletch. How are you?
Good, mate. Good. Unrestored car.
Yeah, definitely unrestored. Never been touched.
What build number is it?
Number 39 of 260.
There you go. I like it when a man has to look at his own chart to get the relevant documented information. That's an extremely special car, Ben.
Yeah, look, it's got a lot of history, this car. I tried to buy it back in 1983 when I was 18 years old. The bank wouldn't loan me the money. So fast forward 35 years and I finally managed to get it, and they can bury me in it now.
There you go. And it was probably, what, about 10K?
Yeah, 10K back then.
Now, history of the car, what can you tell us there, Ben?
It was sold into Barrel in 1971 to a guy called John Elliott. John Elliott subsequently had a truck accident and his wife traded it in, came to trade it at our local Toyota dealership. I was offered the car for $10,000, couldn't get the money, and a guy by the name of Alan Warner bought the vehicle. Alan Warner was one of the Warners from Mittagong, a good Highlands family, always into their GTs.
Yeah. And Alan since passed too, which was terrible as well.
Yeah, no, Alan passed just after his 80th birthday, I believe. So, but yeah, the Warners had a long history with GT Falcons. Cam raced for a while, raced Bathurst with Jeff Leeds and Steve Marston in a Capri, and then...
Don't mention Cam too much. He just won't be able to fit through the door.
Well, he never could anyway. I mean, have you seen him lately?
I mean his head, Ben.
Oh, okay, right, okay. Yeah, so anyway, the car was then taken to Melbourne. Alan took it down to Melbourne and it was at a car show. And he swapped it for a Ford Mercury, 49 Mercury. And the car was then lost sight of, track of for many years.
Yeah.
In August 2010, I spotted it at a car show, spoke to the owner that had it then, and we found out that it was the same car. So for the next 8 years, I pestered him until I finally managed to get it 6 months ago.
It's nice for me to see this car from my hometown, Southern Highlands of New South Wales, and up here in Queensland as well. The cars get around. It's nice to know they're in good hands, they've got good history, and to think we see this 351 Windsor sitting here unrestored, the whole car's unrestored, the interior is still immaculate. It's nice that the genuine few that are left have come through the other side, they haven't been trashed, and talk about hold on to them.
Yeah, look, we are, and we're only custodians for the next lot. I mean, you know, my young bloke will get this car when I pass. And hopefully he'll keep it forever as well. But look, there's probably 15 really good HOs left in existence unrestored, and I hope this is one of them. I believe it is.
Absolutely. So the transitional stage too, because getting a Windsor as well, could have got a Cleveland at the same time.
Yeah, Cleveland's came out in February 1970, so this was a May 69 vehicle.
Yeah. You got the original 12 slotters and mud flaps as well.
Yeah, the mud flaps are quite a story. There's a few guys, I'll mention their names, Adrian Trousey and Brett Wallace. They'd love me to take the mud flaps off. And there's jokes every day of the week about pulling the mud flaps off the car, but no, they're on to stay.
Hey, look, you know, it's only some screws and some bolts. It's no biggie.
Yeah, the other thing is maybe LED reflectors on them now just to sort of keep it in keeping with the current era.
It's going downhill. We're starting to spiral, Ben.
We are.
Right, mate, on that note, look, thank you so much for being on today's show. A very special car. Every car here is special, but when we see one of these GTs that are original, as you know, there's more GT Falcons on the road these days than what Ford made.
Yep, that's exactly right, but none of them are real.
Good on you, Ben.
Thanks, Fletch. Good to catch up.
Cheers, mate.
Thanks, mate. See ya.
And it's time for Ma Mopar on today's show. How you doing, Chris?
Real good, thanks, Fletch.
That's good. Thanks for coming along.
No problem.
Very, very nice Charger here, a 1971 VH E38.
Correct. Yep. Yeah, I've owned this for 35 years now. Did the old usual, bought it when I was 21, but didn't sell it when the missus came along and decided to keep it.
Well, you're a very clever man.
Absolutely. There's a lot of my mates had to get rid of their cars when they met their wives, that's for sure.
Yeah, what you need is the wife to come along that loves the car and she insists that you keep it.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
That's the one you've got to try and find.
Exactly.
Chris, I love the car. Paint job, I can tell it's not original. How old's that?
I had that done 7 years ago. It's held up very well. Yeah, it's I don't take it out a lot, but I come to car shows, go on club runs. Probably take it out once a week, I guess. So.
Well, starting with engine up front, we've got the 265, got some triples going on there. Tell us what you've done there, Chris.
Well, the engine got rebuilt about 2 years ago. The compression slightly higher. It's got a small solid cam in it.
They really are a screamer of an engine, the 265, and the sound with those triple Webbers, wide open throttle, they really are something, aren't they?
Oh, it's something to hear when you're in it, when you're really revving it. It's like raises the hair on the back of your neck, you know. They really do scream and sound fantastic, yeah.
4-speed manual gearbox there, Chris, the single rail Borg Warner?
Yeah, that's correct. Originally a 3-speed, of course, in the E38. This car had the 4-speed in when I bought it, so it was much nicer to drive it, so I just left it there. So. Yeah.
Okay, Chris, time for the interior now. The tombstone bucket seats, the black interior in these Chargers always sets off that sports appeal, doesn't it?
It does, yeah. I think there are a number of colours available. I think black, especially with the hemi-orange paintwork, it goes really well. It looks the part, yeah.
It's funny how red cars go faster, but when it comes to the interior, you've got to have black.
Yeah, absolutely, I agree. I mean, I've seen them in like a fawn sort of colour, but I think the black is the favourite colour, I think.
It suits Charger.
Yeah, absolutely it does, yeah.
Chris, love the Charger. Thanks for coming along.
Thanks very much, Fletch. Nice meeting you and talking to you.
Absolutely. 2018 Muscle on the Mountain, and I was just notified before the interview, over 900 cars, I think 946 to be precise, which is a record here at Maleny in Queensland.
Yeah, spectacular showing for a regional show. Yeah. Really is, yeah.
Okay. Good on you, Chris. Well done.
Thanks, Fletch. Bye-bye.
Well, it could be a case of leaving the best till last. And there's a lot of best cars here, but in terms of a truck, this is certainly one of the nicest ones on the paddock. How you doing, Chris?
Good, Fletch. How's you, mate?
Good, mate. Good. 1955 Chev. You've done some beautiful custom work here.
Yeah, I have, mate. It's taken a bit of time to do it. Started off in North Carolina, and I had a fella over there was selling the truck. I liked the truck. I've been chasing a 55 for a long time. I've had a 48 and a 57 before, so I really wanted a 55. So I decided to start my build as the 55 over there. Came across an 06 Corvette and it had rear damage, so managed to take the heartbeat out of that, transplant it, take the 350 out, transplant it into this one, and yeah, we squeezed it in.
Best of both worlds too, the LS2 sitting under there so nicely. Look, it's a beautiful truck. Don't know where to start in terms of discussion. First of all, the front. When you look around the front, it's just like an FC Holden.
It is, yeah, mate. That's definitely a characteristic that we got from the States in these FCs over here, and the FCs are a popular car.
What I love about what you've done here is the fact that you haven't gone overboard. Everything you've done is just right. You haven't gone too far. You've done beautiful paint work, a bit of billet around the inside, billet steering wheel. The dashboard's nice. I love first of all, we'll look at the interior, the instrument cluster around the Spyder. Beautiful work there.
Yeah, that's digital Dakota. I had dolphin gauges in it originally, which were new, but didn't quite suit what I wanted the look of the dash to be, so Digital Dakota sorted that out quite nicely.
We then look at the seating department as well. Now that looks comfortable to me.
Yeah, it's actually a HT seat. The original seat that it was put in it in the States was actually out of a larger truck, so it overhung the footwells a little bit. So my trimmer decided, let's cut this seat back a bit. Tried to cut the original one back, just too hard. So we got a HT seat and blasted the framework and got the interior done, all webbing, so it's really comfy.
Okay, now we talked about the nice paint colour. What is that colour, Chris?
It's a custom mix.
Chris's own blend.
It's a blend from my painter, actually. He's got a very good eye.
Chris, time for Outback. Now, in that tray, beautiful timber, stainless steel strip, timber, separated by that beautiful stainless. You've even got tie-down, billet tie-downs as well. I don't know what you're intending to tie down, mate, but perhaps you've got a bike, I don't know.
No, you come to a car show, you need to take some seats to sit on, and I couldn't put them in the front with me, so I had to put this, some sort of tie down and to take stuff for my kids and everything to sit on, you know.
Good on you. All right, Chris, thanks very much, mate, for hanging around. It was well worth it. We're literally down to like maybe 7 cars on the paddock. So the nicest truck here today, mate, and great work. Thanks, Chris.
Thanks very much, Fletch.
Well, there you have it. What a cross-section of vehicles on today's episode. We even mentioned mother-in-laws at 2018 Muscle on the Mountain here in Maleny in Queensland. I hope you really enjoyed this week's episode. Try and keep your diary free for 2019. Check out social media pages for more information on this tremendous event. Until next week, no matter where you're watching Classic Restos from, please ride and drive safe. I'm Fletch, and I thank you very much for watching. You can like and follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/ClassicRestosTV and watch catch-up episodes at shannons.com.au. Classic Restos is proudly brought to you by Shannons, insurance for motoring enthusiasts. Hare and Forbes Machinery House, Pace Farm, Hero Hoists, and Martens Panel Masters.